Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. If you are new here, then let me introduce myself. My name is Amit, currently completing my undergrad in Ruet. I created this channel to portray all my learnings from different online courses and books of data science and CS fundamentals. So let's see a quick short intro video, then jump into the main content. Before going to the main content, here's a quick reminder that I have started a series of multiple videos on clustering, and this is the second video of that series. So if you are completely new in this video, then I am highly suggesting you to see the previous video of this series called Clustering and its Basics. If you skip that, then you might not understand the terms that I am going to use in this video. Well, this video is divided into two parts. First, I am going to talk about the K-means algorithm, and then in the second part, I am going to show you how you can implement K-means clustering in a dataset. So let's get started. So, K-means clustering. Well, K-means clustering is one of the simplest unsupervised machine learning algorithms. The main aim of K-means clustering is to minimize the distance between the points within a cluster. Well, K-means is a centroid based algorithm, or what can I say, a distance based algorithm. So let's see that how its algorithm works. So first you have to choose the number of clusters. Then you have to select k random points from the data as centroids. If you don't understand the centroid term, then you have to see the first video of this series. I have described this term very easily there. Moving on, then you have to assign all the points to the closest cluster centroids. Then you have to recompute the centroid of newly formed clusters. And at the last step, you have to repeat the step 3 and step 4. This algorithm will be much more clear to you when I am going to implement this in a dataset. So let's move into the second phase. So this is the second phase of our video. We are going to implement the K-means clustering algorithm here. So first of all, we are importing all the libraries that we need. So before that, I have to mention something that we are going to use the scikit-learn library to implement the K-means clustering algorithm. We are not going to implement this from scratch. So after importing all the necessary libraries, let's run it. Okay, then we are loading the dataset from the sklearn dataset. For that, I have already imported from sklearn import dataset. So let's load this. Okay, so now let's see our dataset. Let's run this cell. So you can see that this is how our dataset looks. It has 4 columns, right? So moving on. Now first of all, we have to define the number of clusters. For this video, first of all, I am defining the number of clusters as 5, and then we are going to show the output of clustering with that value 5. Let's run it. Okay, so you can see that the output of this cell. Moving on, now we are going to print the centers of those 5 clusters. So let's print the kmeans.5, the cluster centers. Then you can see the center points of those 5 clusters. Okay, so moving on, now we have to print the inertia value. Well, if you are new in this video and don't understanding the inertia value, then you have to check the previous video of this series to understand this. So what basically inertia does is it actually calculates the sum of the distances for all the points within a cluster from the centroids of that cluster. It basically tells us how far the points within a cluster are. this distance between them should be as low as possible. So let's run this cell. Okay, so you can see that our inertia value is 25 or close to 26. Okay, let's run it. So we have defined the clusters as 5, number of clusters as 5 in this notebook. So how we can decide what will be our optimal number of clusters? Well, we can do that by using Algo method. Well, we will plot a graph where the x-axis will represent the number of clusters and the y-axis will be the evaluation matrix. For that, I am using the inertia value. So let's run this cell. So what it says that on the x-axis we have number of clusters and in the y-axis we have the number of inertia. Okay, so moving on. Okay, so what this graph represents that the cluster values where this decrease in inertia values become constant can be chosen as the right cluster value for our data. Here our optimal cluster value is between 3 and 4. You can see that. So let's select 3 for our notebook. Okay, so now I am going to repeat the same process with our number of clusters 3 instead of 5. So let's run this cell as our number of clusters 3, then again printing all those clusters. Okay, now we are printing the center points. Okay, so you can see that there are 3 center points of these clusters. Okay, now we are going to see that how many data points are in this thick cluster. So you can see that in the first cluster we have 62 points, in the 0th cluster we have 50 points, and in the second cluster we have 38 data points. Now let's visualize the data. Let's run this cell. Okay, so here you can visualize the data where there are 3 types of clusters. As you can see that we have red, green and purple as colors. So this is the whole K-means clustering concepts. So I hope you enjoyed this video and now you can implement the K-means clustering algorithm by your own. So if you have any kind of query or questions, then please leave a comment below, and I am going to attach all the files and all the necessary documents in the description box. So please do check them, and if you haven't subscribed my channel yet, then please do subscribe for future videos. And this is it. Thanks for watching. See you guys soon.